Well, we always know that today's gonna be the last day in Afghanistan. Well, the wait is over, and now we have come to the very end. After 20 days, a heartwarming, and what is going to happen, and it did already. The war in Afghanistan that we just saw, it just very shocking. 20 years. Barack Obama, George W. Bush, 2001 to 2008, and 16, Donald Trump, 2016 and 2020, Joe Biden, his stand in the coming days in Afghanistan after 20 freaking years. It's just the saddest part is that this is what happened, hard times in Afghanistan and a lesser day for real. You just don't know what has happened so far so fast. It's happened every single time. What it is. And now we have come with what we just heard. This is last hour. It says that we just heard it was heard so far. Want to know anything better. And this is what has happening in Afghanistan. And I mean, man, the updates in of a hurricane Allen got hit. Hurricane Allen got hit New Orleans, Louisiana last night. But it is what it is. I mean, it's just I shouldn't. I mean, I shouldn't know about what's happening so far. This is what it is. It is what it is. And it's just like this. It wouldn't know anything about it. They didn't know everything about it before this happened. The troops of the U.S. got those refugees in Afghanistan into the airport, and you just saw the last plane. Just a breaking U.S. military aircraft carrier, the last in history, but leaving hundreds of Americans, thousands, tens of thousands. I said again, a U.S. military aircraft carried the last American troops out from tens of thousands of Africans to face a future unknown century and danger. The final U.S. withdrawal came a day before the August 31st deadline set by President, and that's it under the presidential threat of terrorist attacks that already had claimed the lives of 13 American soldiers and more than 200 Afghanistans killed in a suspect Atlanta State suicide bombing at a Carbon on those days. Now, despite insurances to the controls by Mr. Biden and other top administration officials, Americans and again, the U.S. early says today say it was working to assist hundreds of Americans still there, acolyting groups, and say as many assist and potential drivers and others. It assesses the U.S. military, CIA personnel, at repetition from the last week's child, the 20th anniversary of President George W. Bush called the First World of the 21st century. Now, Mr. Bush launched attacks on September 11, 2001 overthrow the Taliban. We had horrible the eye terrorists who executed the attacks on U.S. soil. The war continued through the predecessors of Barack Obama and Donald Trump, who both tried but failed to end it. For President Biden, the end of the U.S. involvement in Afghanistan was a peninsula 2020 and potential war of the war, but it triggered a presidency and popular criticism to withdraw, as well as the planning and execution of the operation. Pentagon officials said Monday that the lights leapt out the dozens of U.S. troops deploying into the airport in Kabul, Afghanistan for Crudup was a foreign guy under the ISIS extremist group. And all 2,461 U.S. troops were killed, including 13 in the past week, in a U.S. campaign that began October 7, 2001, as an effort to topple the Taliban. In 2010, the U.S. had more than 100,000 troops in Afghanistan. The following year, the U.S. killed Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden. We have been living in an abandoned Pakistan. Through the deals of U.S. forces backed by other agencies, contractors, and networks and organizations working to build a democratic Afghan state defended by a 300,000 plus strong security force. But the government and those forces displayed less than 4 months after the U.S. began its May withdrawal, embedding the Taliban to return to power. Well, the fact that Afghanistan fell within reach to the very group the U.S. is obscene and representing a crushing defeat to many veterans and officials after the fight that spanned generations. By U.S. government spending estimate, the war cost taxpayers $824.9 billion or over $3.4 billion amount. Scholars such as those at Brown University's Cost of War Project estimated that the war's total cost, like killing for more than 20,000 injured veterans, had already risen into the trillions. The military execution began in others after the collapse of the Afghanistan government and the security forces. August 15, U.S. commandos coordinated with Taliban commandos to secure the airport, perimeter, and control the access after the entire days were mirrored by scenes of the people mobbing the airport and climbing the departed aircraft. Some fell to their depths. The airlift efforts was nearly unprecedented in scale, scope, and danger, moving more than 122,000 Americans, dual country citizens in Afghanistan in 15 days. The execution was one of the most deadly operations of the war for the U.S. On those days, 11 Marines and soldiers and cell were killed along with nearly 200 Afghanistans after the suicide bomber demonstrated himself. As the troops were screaming down to the applicants trying to get flight out of the country, it was the deadliest day of the last decade for the U.S. military in Afghanistan. Now, the dread of the attack lasted until the final hours of the U.S. withdrawal. The U.S. military said 5 rockets were fired at the airport Sunday evening. One of the rockets was intercepted by counter missile weapons, while 3 landing outside the airport and the other landing inside, though without casualties and without causing the casualties. Early that day, the Pentagon said it hit a vehicle with armament for the airport and landing explosives. The U.S. military said it killed several suicide bombers inside the car, but many Afghanistans on the ground said the strike killed 10 civilians, including several children. Witnessing polls have shown majority of American approved of the decision to withdraw but disapproved Mr. Biden's handling the action. Biden administration officials had intention to spend the month August turning Mr. Biden's accomplishments and building support for the ballot sessions and infrastructure package and the popular $3.5 trillion budget plan. But the Carolina excess has overshadowed the president's leading agenda. Now, the Democrat believes that populists for voters will shape ahead next year's midterm elections with issues like COVID-19 and the economic remaining unpopular in voters' minds and frustrations with the Afghanistan exit disparities in over time. The party holds a narrow majority in the House and controls the unevenly divided Senate. Lawmakers from both parties have called for hearings on Capitol Hill once the withdrawal is complete, and the Republicans are pushing for those hearings to happen as soon as possible once Congress returns in mid-September. White to Nancy, A, low South, at Nancy, low South, and Golden Hospital. So anyway, it happens, folks. The war is over, and it looks like there's nothing that's, the U.S. troops had got them out, thank God. And they got them out of the country, thank God. But you saw it on CNN, you saw it on Fox News, and you saw on CNBC that there are a lot of brave people. And I don't say poor people, just brave people that were happy to get out in Afghanistan because of all this mess. After all they went through, 20 freaking years. It just never stopped. It never stopped because before it happened. It just never stopped. And that's what it is. The war in Afghanistan is over. The deadline is on August 31st. That will be tomorrow. And that's going to be our last day until the time is up. The deadline is already up. Will be already up tomorrow. But what else can I say? This is a sad time, and people have to live with it for the rest of their lives. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what they're gonna do staying in Afghanistan after they doing all this. They have to face the fact that I just don't know. I feel bad for them. Our hearts and prayers go out for them in Afghanistan, and the U.S. troops are leaving Afghanistan. And what the midterm election will be next year. Next year will be the midterm election in 2022. Who's going to take the Senate? Either the Republicans or the Democrats. No, I'm a Democrat party. But who's going to take the Senate? Time will tell. Now we're going to look what happened in Hurricane Ida. We hit New Orleans, Louisiana. That was last day, and that was a bad deal. That was a bad thing. And that's the problem. So now, look what has happened. Because Hurricane Ida, it was more than 1 million real power and many written rescues from Florida homes. Now, it happened since August 29, 2005. That was 16 years ago. 16 years ago when Hurricane Katrina hit. Now, Ida, now a slow-moving tropical storm over western Mississippi, still threatens to cause more flood, not just in the deep south, but also into the Tennessee or Ohio valleys as it closed no over the next 3 days. Now, rescues are getting numberless reports of people who climbing into taxis or onto roofs as waters was in their homes, especially in perhaps just outside New Orleans. About 15 people were helped off roofs and into boats early Monday in a shade of silent alarm and rescues in high water vehicles still were taking people to safety in the lower side in town in the late morning, Ma Gray Corner said. Because cell phone service and speculation is much of the major rescues or sometimes are having to find for themselves who need help. We had some people that waited out neighborhoods and flagging police officers down and told us what is going on, Coroner. Mile of the sheriff northeast of New Orleans told CNN on Monday this morning. Seems like there's hundreds positive trapped in the houses, with some extreme water from a foot deep to people inadequate. Jordan Bludsworth, fleet captain of the Louisiana Coastal Naval Volunteer Rescue Group, told CNN early Monday morning. Bloodworth was sending his teams to their place in St. John at the Baptist Parish just west of New Orleans, where the National Rescue Service and posts on social media had indicated numerous people had asked for rescues. Another person, Tiffany Miller, was struck in the heart after Sunday night after floodwaters came into her home. She said perhaps 3 to 5 feet of water had entered her home at separation. She told CNN Franklin WDSU, when we got in the attic. When we got in the attic, the water was right below my knees, Miller said. I know that we're not in the by ourselves, and it's going to be okay. Paul Millerov, volunteering with the Colorado Sources Rescue Group, paddling solo to their place at the coroner and Fergus Monday from the floor homes, he said most of the rescuers were in the attic. He said the water in that neighborhood was about 10 feet deep in the hollow. The United Coastal Navy separated the fire team rescue group made more than rescues by noon Monday, including hollow regular roughly 60 miles dry southwest of New Orleans. Todd Taylor, whose president said in lower life in southern New Orleans, people reported are on routes pleading for help as water nearly reaching to the top rooftops. Jefferson Parish President accepted the lead shelter told CNN right now the focus is on preserving a life and finding those folks and saving them. She said residents also were forced to their routes in the nearby town on June 11th. Maryland Town California Jr. said as leaders were down, carnivals may delay health stand on residents for quite some time. And that's what the government can do about it. But this is all about something else, and this is what happened since August 29, 2005. The Hurricane Katrina had blew off New Orleans. On New Orleans when the Saints played that nearly knock off the dome, and it's just they stood out, and it's just in New Orleans it is what it is. I mean, it's just 16 years later, Hurricane Ida, who had knocked out New Orleans, and New Orleans now is all hell broke loose, and it just doesn't even make any sense. We got people in New Orleans trapped in a house on the roof. A lot of flooding going on, and it is what it is. It just happens. Okay, that's gonna be it for now, and we're gonna learn about this for tomorrow. Until then, this is Justin Crudup. We'll see you tomorrow, live on the Justin Crudup Show.